with you?
I'm trying to work, Chef. I'm trying to communicate.
Wake up!
Yes, Chef.
You! What's wrong with you?
Nothing, Chef.
Yeah, get a grip!
You got it.
Hey, hello, come here, donkeys. Here we go. Come here. What is that?
It's all right.
What is that? What is that? What is that? Roll! Roll!
His ambition only grows more intense. That someone could harbor such dark thoughts towards family.
Fine dining!
What do I care for this sham of a feat?
Well, Kyle?
Yes, Garrett?
Seeing as we scrapped an entire video because I was so bored it was the most negative thing we've ever made, I vote we skip everything and get straight to the feet of Brotherhood.
Huh.
Well, Kyle, that was boring as hell.
Anyway, this video is sponsored by viewers like you via supportourbromance.com. Or if you're really active on our live streams, you could also become a YouTube member. We get a little bit more from Patreon, which is where you'll go if you go to supportourbromance.com. But we always say go with where you want the perks, because there's no way we can give you, emotes and chat badges via Patreon. So either way, both support us. Please support our channel. We're not running another ad. So yeah, like, I don't know. Ad revenue's rough right now on YouTube. Yeah. So check out supportourbromance.com. We really appreciate the support, everybody. There's some perks over there, no matter what level you sign up for. But really, it's just a direct way to support these two dorks right here. Supportourbromance.com. Supportourbromance.com. Back to the show.
There are two good dungeons before that moment. And a third great dungeon that's beyond the point that you mentioned.
We've done 3 dungeons.
Yes.
There's 2 of them have been good.
Well, the first one with the manatee.
First one's great.
With the Kirby manatee.
Yep.
That's
First one's
great. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. The one where we go up a mountain and fight crystal beasts.
That one's not great.
But it's a scaling a mountain.
I've already forgotten the bosses.
And you shoot up a big jump with no load screen into the clouds. That was nice.
It's fine.
Yeah?
It was fine. It's kind of pales in comparison to where we just stopped.
Okay. Well, what about the bird lady's voice? Because that is an incredible voice. I would listen to her do any documentary on the planet.
Great. Yeah.
Our situation could never have resolved itself. The revival of even a single reed would have served to demonstrate your commitment to the task.
Yeah.
Wuk-Evu does a lot of things.
I do like Wuk-Evu is like the only character I really like at this point.
I was kind of hoping it was Wook-Lamot's dad, because then they could just be Wook-Wooks together.
You know what? Yeah. I'm sorry. Let's see. So everything up until the Feet of Brotherhood, Wuk-Evu is the only character I like. The Scions have nothing to do. The MSQ felt kind of just copy-paste. Like, there's a feat, and Wook doesn't think she can do it, and then she does it. Move on. And that's why I felt it was just kind of dull.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. I mean, really what it comes down to is you can tell how into it we are by how many MSQ videos we make.
I mean, that's not fair to judge. Endwalker was literally like discovery after discovery after discovery. This is a whole new business. We only did one. We went all the way to Doma Castle, this exact same point in Stormblood.
Yeah, I feel very Stormblood about it. Although I think Stormblood, at least for the first half, is a little bit better than Dawntrail.
Well, ultimately, the focus of Stormblood is very strong because of Garlemald. We have a threat, and we know what we're doing with it.
Yes.
Here, there are so many...
So many maybe threats.
I don't think they're misdirections. Like, maybe threats, sure, but it's also my misinterpretation at the behest of less happening in the story. My desire to want more to happen made me misinterpret things.
Yes, yeah, and that's pretty much my overarching critique of level 90 through whenever Feet of Brotherhood kicks off.
About 94.
Is just a lack of charm. I think Final Fantasy XIV is one of the most charming narrative experiences I have ever had in games. Didn't grow up playing Final Fantasy. I understand they're all quite charming.
Yes, many are people's favorites and whatnot.
Yes, yeah. So it's when I think of charming games, I think of like the jaunty music when I go into the shop in Ocarina of Time and shit like that, because that's how I grew up. But it's just lack of charm, I like Wuk-Lamot. I'm not in that camp. That camp, valid unless you're being mean.
Sure.
And A lot of you are being mean.
A lot of people are being mean, yeah.
Stop being mean. But overall, I like the character, but I do feel like it's just kind of same character beat, zone after zone, feat after feat. And so I just was a little bored. I wanted someone like Xenos to kick in the door and take another life off Y'shtola.
Well, we didn't know what that was going to be, right? And that's a driving force through a huge point of all of our expansions so far. That overarching goal propels you through things that might not be your favorite. The flaw of Dawntrail so far is I don't know what that goal was yet. And I eventually found out that goal when Wook Lamont dueled.
Karth wants to chime in. Karth is a big Wook Lamont fan.
In my excitement to like Dawntrail because I like so many things about it, I kept grabbing onto the wrong threads, and I pulled them really hard, such as the storm that started the whole thing. Ooh, a storm. Oh, it could be kaiju. It could be a giant monster that crashed the boat. How's that going to come into play? Then we go to the bird people's town is destroyed by a storm. Okay, the storm's the big mystery. It's not even a part of the story anymore. Okay, so Alphino is going to discover some big problem with this whole thing, and he's going to throw down his political machination business and really start involving himself. No, he didn't. He's literally here for Garlemald, and so is Alizé. Like, Alizé has a little bit more of a thread of adventure with her and wants to participate in a fight when it shows up, but they're here for Garlemald. They're here for Garlemald. Garlemald.
They're here for Gallbladder.
Aaronville. What's the mystery with Aaronville? What's going on there? He's very focused on being the guide right now. I think we're going to get to that mystery.
And he kind of blurs lines with Kryl because they both want to find the Golden City. They both have like personal investment in finding the Golden City.
Kryl, the most patient person on Earth. Honestly.
The most patient character on Earth.
The number of scenes where she's sitting there and being like,
I wouldn't even know what to ask for.
Perhaps he can tell us about the dreams of the Golden City.
oh, be patient, Cry. And she is. She's being so patient.
But the audience isn't being patient. At least I don't think a lot of the audience is being patient.
Because we don't know what the threat is. And when Wook Lamont dueled Bakul Jaja, it came together for why we're there. And I was missing that completely. Yeah. And I'm being like completely serious. I would love more scenes of me sitting up on a rock meditating and like Wook Lamont running to me. More scenes of me just being a stoic badass. Like when we walked towards Bakul Jaja in the cave and was about to commit unholy murder on his ass because he was messing up. He was messing with the right. Like I took that as menace. And those sort of scenes informed me as the Warrior of Light, my participation as a tutor to Wook Lamont, as the master, the champion, the Kung Fu master, honestly. Like we are fostering Wook Lamont's power.
Wook Lamont is Luke, we're Obi-Wan.
Yes, but that wasn't clear because we had all these characters, all of which have their own goals, but weren't really expressing them. Because of all the uneven excitement, it was hard to tell where to put the thread. Like the music, the town, the city, it's incredible. Like what an atmosphere.
It's probably my favorite zones in the history of this game. Endwalker has some bangers. Don't get me wrong. Ultima Thule, I'm not throwing any under any buses here. Love that zone, but just in like as someone who's like for a long time like had the hot take, at least in this community, of World of Warcraft blows 14 out of the water with zones. I'm very pleased with Dawntrail.
It's a nice zone.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
It is an absolute feast for the eyes. I'm also a total sucker for anything subtropical, South American, all that kind of stuff. I grew up in Florida. Spent a lot of time, south of the border, courtesy of dirt cheap cruises because I live here. I love all of that. And there's just so much artistry and subtlety, and it feels authentic. And we keep hearing from members of our community that live in the real world representations of these zones, that and the consensus we've gotten, at least from folks in our chat room, is that they didn't screw it up. Because I don't want to be accused of being toxically positive.
Okay.
So I want to be clear that I think the first half of Dawntrail is the weakest 14 I've played since Realm Reborn. I will take Stormblood over it. And the first half of Stormblood I think is pretty rough. But I'd say about the point at the Bakul Jaja solo duty, they finally started addressing almost every gripe I've had with Dawntrail so far. And we start to cross over and have some similar things here because I was with you. I'm like, cool, show the Warrior of Light as that teaching character. Give the other Scions anything to do. That was a huge gripe I've had 90 through 95. I'm like, why are the Scions here?
And they're third wheels. They don't have anything to do. Like, logically, Final Fantasy XIV has always been very good at managing its character's location and purpose.
Yeah.
And such as Thancred and Orianger, they were there to be double dads to Kona, who's used to having two dads.
Which we start getting after the Bakal Jaja solo.
And that's when it comes through and makes it clear that they have been hands off this entire time because Kona needs to learn these lessons. But that's not a very interactive story. The clarity of you are here as a tutor is something that could have been hammered home, and I think it should have been job specific, but we're talking a lot of production value there. I would love it.
Yeah,
like Dark Knights do what you stand with your sword. You don't get to because you're not a cat girl, but you should for this one cutscene be standing on a mountain watching Wuk-Lamont train.
Hero pose.
Yeah,
just hero pose. Yes, actually.
I'm like over here.
A Wuk-Lamont training montage would have been sweet.
And that's what it is. Like ultimately, when you hit Bakal Jaja, you can look back on all of it and go, "Oh, it was a training montage." Can you imagine me? I'm up on a little mountain. I got my little spyglass. What's that? A telescope. I got my telescope out and I'm like looking at some stars.
Okay. All right. This is not what we sat down to discuss, but I'm enjoying this conversation. I'd like to go a little bit deeper here.
Okay.
This is like picking up on so many like little things. So first off, in my mental exploration of gripes I've had with the first half of Dawntrail, it made me realize I think I'm like a legitimate fan now.
Oh, that's an interesting thought.
I think I'm like legit. Like this is legit fandom, and it's moved to be. And I'm pretty sure I was already there, but this made me realize to the extent because I kept wanting tie-ins to what came before Dawntrail. Like and one, I feel like one person's callback is another person's fan service, and it's a very fine line between lore, world building, and fan service. All of those things, the line between them is wafer thin. With the Scions not having much to do, I kept wanting the scene like we got between Thancred, Orianger, and Kona in the campfire. Not the first one, but the one right before the reveal of the gate to the Golden City.
Yes.
Where Thancred and Orianger both help Kona grow as a person based on what we, the players since Realm Reborn, know as the journey they've been on, where they actually have a reason to be in this damn expansion and draw upon their past experiences to be the teachers that they clearly they're clearly supposed to slot into that teacher position for Kona. But they keep showing up, and to me, I felt like in the marketing for this game, they're just like, you versus the other Scions. That's straight up false advertising. Doesn't happen. What's more important for them is their role in this cast of characters as teachers, and I just didn't see a lot of teaching up until this scene, and I love that scene.
Yeah, the tough, what am I supposed to say? Well, you set expectations, and that's wrong of you. Final Fantasy XIV, building in its production, building in its storytelling, set that expectation.
It's a twofold expectation.
Right, the water pouring into the cup there beneath the window. Amazing. Wow, the cheeseburger that Graha ate. Right, we set these expectations along the way, so when you get to a cook-off, you go, well, where's the cook-off?
Yeah.
Where's the water?
Where's the fanfare?
Yeah.
where's the beautiful graphics?
Exactly.
All of that kind of stuff.
And it does happen at times, like when Kona walked out, threw his tablets into the air and shot them. That was excellent.
Wonderful. That's what I talk about. That's not necessarily charm. I think of like the food and stuff as charm. That's the action. That's fit and finish. That's excitement. And Dawntrail is definitely a shonen anime. That's shonen character progression, all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, we can I think transition here now properly into the Vita Brotherhood, because this is where I really start to like Dawntrail and where I feel like it's hitting all the things that I wanted the first 5 levels to dig into.
Don't look away, Sultan. I want you to watch as I tear your beloved promise to shreds!
Which begins with the Bakal Jaja solo duty. The solo duties are good.
They are, expansion. Yeah. There's a good escalation of skill and participation in these. I do wonder if you were coming back after a long break, how that might feel, because these are legit sort of hard. You got to be paying attention. You got to be on your toes. You got to be aware of that snapshot.
I think these solo duties would be halfway decent teaching tools. Then we get to the Thancred Urianger scene with Kona that we both love.
Yeah.
Let them see you for who you really are. What makes you laugh and cry and rage. That sort of honesty is the first step towards mutual understanding and connection.
Oh, it's almost a Green Day lyric. Every word Thancred utters just makes you think of Reen in this scene.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's got experience, right?
Yeah.
And Urianger has experience taking care of Thancred, I guess. Or taking care of ridiculous crap in the background that no one sees.
They take care of each other.
They do.
Urianger was there for Thancred and Shadowbringers, and Thancred was there for Urianger and Walker.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good pals. And, you know, if you think they're beyond that point, I can't tell you.
That's up to you,
fan
man.
fiction to write.
Let it ride. Ship it.
Yet frightening though it may feel, if we are to move forward, we must indeed take that first step. Dispense with pretense and simply be.
Also dispense Loporritz.
Being yourself.
Then we move on to Zoralja and Bakal Jaja in the same cutscene failing the final feat.
Yes, versus the pot. Which is so clearly a reference of some magical pot creature you fight at some point. But
the pot?
Yeah, they've got like a jar, a magic mist jar that makes
Ghoul Jaja.
Yeah, the Dawn Servant in his prime.
But young, without a dead head. But we didn't know that.
No, we didn't know that yet.
Well, you knew it. You
it was
totally
getting
called
there,
it.
yeah.
But yeah, dead head.
Kind of obvious.
Yeah, just goes to all those Grateful Dead shows. So we get confirmation of something I predicted, which is Bakal Jaja's father is the worst.
Oh,
I was half right. I said his parents are the worst.
Yes.
Just his dad.
His mom ended up being okay, which doesn't make it any better.
No.
And they kind of hold hands at the end without holding hands. And I could have used a little bit of like wrist slapping. Just a little bit. Dad, you're dick.
Oh, Dad gets off way too easy.
Yeah.
I'm actually, that's a huge miss for me.
Sweet apology.
Yeah. I'm like, sweet apology, eugenics father.
Well, I mean, I guess... Because they're actually, I've got questions about the participation in making a child, but I guess they can stay in love. But can they accidentally make a child? Maybe it's rule of cool where you only have children if you want to, you know?
Yeah, we're both hung up on that. And like so many people in chat are just very quickly like, they were never in love anyway. I'm like, do you truly believe all those people were forced to get married? And not like 2% were like, oh shit, you're actually kind of rad. We found love through this
really
horrible
happy with this
conversation, like this horrible situation.
Could have happened.
Yeah, it absolutely could happen. Which is plays towards a thing I haven't brought up yet, but another one of my like this bothered me about 90 through 95 is it somehow felt like the slowest thing ever, but also rushed. And I really can't explain it past that, but there's so many times where I'm like, get on with it. And then there's other times where I'm like, wait a minute, we're already done with this? Valley Garmanda was one of them. I'm like, wait, how are we already? We're just moving. No one's addressing the fact he
the ice failed.
So it's true. The ice has failed.
No,
the ice has failed, you know?
But didn't Bakal Jaja let him out, and then everyone was like, anyway, cook a taco. And I feel the same way about Bakal Jaja's dad. I'm just like, we're just going to let him off easy, okay, anyway, cool. Like, he should have been in the dungeon trying to bar our path or something. Like the quickness with the father just accepted his wrongness, I didn't buy for a second.
I mean, his wife is cool, so maybe she's been, like, working on him for years, and it was all some performance, and secretly in the background he's apologized before or something. I don't know. I don't know why.
Behind every horrible believer in a master race is a wonderful spouse that slowly chipped away at their heart.
Yeah, exactly. It seems bad to like riff apart the lizard folk. Like we want them to be together, right? They're happier. They're not a warring nation. Them creating children together seems like a healthy choice rather than dividing based on their lizardy differences.
For some reason, I feel like we're the only two people on Earth that thought this.
Just concerned deeply.
So we're just gonna continue to dig in.
But what if they're in love?
And
like,
don't you love love?
Don't you like they could be in love? What happens then? What if they want to make babies, but they're told not to by society? That's not healthy either.
Y'all want thirst trap art of Bakal Jaja. Do you know how you got Bakal Jaja? That's how you got Bakal Jaja.
The point being, Yeah, we did kind of hit the welcome to Dawntrail moment. The game's got its teeth. It still wants to be disturbing as ever. Dead baby.
Oh, dead baby cave.
Yeah, dead baby cave. Yeah,
dead
was,
baby cave.
was rightfully sad.
It was a bit of a hard left turn. Yeah.
They knew. You set it up. It's only natural that if you create very important magical combo children, that there's going to be some sort of program to make them. And so it was a required bit to complete that story. And Buckles Jaja, I don't feel like is as immediately forgiven as his dad. We're definitely pushing his dad aside and being like, okay, on with the story. But I think we'll still have growth in the Buckles Jaja department.
Oh, 100%. He's full on Vegeta. Like, I called it. He's a Vegeta archetype. Now it's confirmed.
Yeah?
Yeah. He's frenemy number one.
Could self-sacrifice himself at some point, hold the door open, as it were. There's lots of opportunities for him to make a big redemption. Now with the training arc of City Girl Wuklamat completed to Dawn Servant, her more authoritative forgiveness of Bako Jaja is enough for me.
So what happened after Dead Baby Cave?
We went back and fought Ghost Dad.
Oh, yeah, we fought Ghost Dad. Kona has this wonderful moment of throwing the tablet and shooting it.
Badass.
Yeah, and then everyone works together. And again, I go, wait, what are the rules? Are they allowed to work together? Doesn't matter. We're not good. This is one of those
rules are very loose.
They're extremely loose.
And it's more that the elector has the right to impose the rules however they see fit. So there's a lot of wiggle room.
And Wuklamat had a pretty biased elector previously with her bio dad, and now Bako Jaja has a pretty biased elector with shit dad. So yeah, it was a minor wrinkle for me where I was like, wait, is that and then I was like, you know what, it's fine. Like Ghoul Jaja's entire claim to fame was that he united so many people. So if one of the promises can unite the other promises, which Wook is essentially what Wook does here, except for Zoral Jaja, or Zoral Ja. There's not a second Ja because he's a one head.
Yes.
Which I feel lizard racist when I say one head.
His dad also has a very similar name to the Vizier, like the lizard naming convention.
There's Zuriel Jaja and you don't get Zuriel and Suriel?
No, and I'm
confused.
I'm so happy that Jaja exists because it cuts out a huge amount of people. It's like Guess Who lizard folk.
Yep.
Does your person have two heads? Yes. Flip them all down. We're good to go. Kona's choice to exit the competition and be there with Wuklamat makes sense. And everyone in a moment of we believe in you, Wuklamat, lets her have that limit break moment.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I love that it's protective. It's not offensive. It's very Jedi.
Yeah. Yeah.
Her limit break is protecting everybody.
And that's what she's had to learn, that she was making up this whole, again, it's that city girl vibe that I missed early on because I think of the locale as so adventurous. It takes me out of, if we saw buildings, Sweet Home Alabama.
It's our Western brain.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I didn't take her as a city girl, but that's what's happening.
Because to us, a pyramid is like about as adventurous as you can get.
How could you have not gone outside in this beautiful place? How did you not experience local cultures when you're surrounded by them, but you've been in the city your dad made? So now she is protecting peace, and it's not just the idea that she knows what that means. And so when we all gather behind her there, I see it as a more defined moment.
Again, wonderful solo duty. Brought mechanics from the first time we fought Ghoul Jaja forward into it, plus some new mechanics. I failed my first attempt because I had tank stance on.
Oh, and you took threat from Wuklamat?
Took threat from Wuklamat, which made it so Wuklamat wasn't always perfectly up on Ghoul Jaja. And during one of the stack mechanics, she used her gap closer during the stack mechanic, and I wasn't standing in it.
Interesting.
And didn't diffuse enough damage, and some people died, and I failed to... Yeah. So we can get to my favorite part of Dawntrail so far. The part where Dawntrail gets good and then immediately boots you out the door and doesn't explain itself whatsoever. But it gets good, and I'm into it, and I'm fine, and and this is, I feel like we're heading towards the type of weird pacing that I'm used to from Final Fantasy XIV.
Okay.
Getting to the reveal of the gate to the Golden City, the Golden Pyramid, the Skydeep Cenote dungeon, all of this, a goldmine of S-class Final Fantasy XIV content. The dungeon's great, the bosses are great, the narrative's great, the reveal is great, the grandeur, Kyle, is great.
Yeah, the reveal as the temple slowly transforms into its techno self as you progress through. The final boss was amazing. That was just fun.
Excellent.
It was a
hammer face, whatever he's called.
Yeah.
I forget.
80s shaver, whatever he was up to.
A very metal name. It was something. I don't know, it was like Murderburger or something.
Moat Murder, something along those lines.
I forget. I just call him Hammerface.
He's wonderful.
Yeah.
I mean, in that moment, I was definitely like, wow, this must be what awaits us. This is the word that's been getting back to us, that endgame Dawntrail kicks ass. And it was clear. And you can see in their design of things like the variant dungeons or the dungeons leading up to Dawntrail that all that was really advancing. They were really taking advantage of like a 4-man kind of structure to get these more extreme moments. And it's there in the Skydeep Cenote. That thing is badass.
One of my favorite dungeons ever. I already know I'm gonna get kind of hyped out like every time I do it and I see the damn pyramid. The song in there is wonderful. Like, it works for the beginning when it just feels like you're in it doesn't feel like you are. You're just in like a ruin, like something that to us feels a little more primitive, a little more ancient, a little more of the earth. But then when you turn the corner and you see a techno pyramid that looks like it's straight out of like the original trilogy of Assassin's Creed, the music doesn't change, but it still works.
It does, it holds up. You hear it in a completely different way. It's super cool.
Yeah, it's a really good track. It's very ambient, and to me it doesn't really like have this big, like I almost wish the music did change. Like I almost want to like go just evolve into full-on dubstep, have a bass drop moment. But at the same time, I really appreciate what was accomplished here with making such an ambient piece that works for the entire dungeon. It's impressive. And then you get the boss music, which is phenomenal in Dawntrail. The boss fight music is just so good. I loved everything about this. With one exception, which is I wish the cutscene that followed was more about Kryl than Wuklamot.
Oh, Kryl, again, most patient person on the planet. Like, just sitting there, foaming at the mouth to ask questions, and still gets you must wait, Kryl. Like, I know I have some secrets to share with you, but please, after the coronation. It's very important to me that I don't share any of this.
I'm wondering if that's why they decide to kind of pull the e-brake, send us back for the coronation, if they thought it was just too many plot threads to tie up all at once. Because to me, it's like, cool, Wuklamot, get out. Not necessarily leave, but you did what you came here to do. All right, I'm here for Indiana Jones Kryl mystery. That's what I want. Cool. We've finally done it. You completed your quest. Let me have my Scion time now. All I've wanted, as someone who hasn't finished Eureka, all I've wanted is Kryl to get the spotlight. And boy, has Kryl been sidelined this whole expansion.
She's been so
far.
patient. And then we met a man who was not her grandpa and was quickly killed afterwards. Like,
which I was stoked about that, because I was a little worried because there was just so much teasing of Kentenram, and I was just like, oh, Dawntrail. Like, this is me personally. I'm not saying this is an objective thing. This is a subjective take. Because every time we had an echo back to Gulul Zhaja's past, obviously Kentenram was
obviously there. With his fabulous
but they
hair.
would just zoom in on him, not comment on him, and then move ahead, and I'm like, oh no, I'm already bored with this expansion, and they're about to take what I think is the most boring character from the lore of Final Fantasy and put him on this giant boner pedestal.
The books and Charlie and
didn't give a shit.
Like, holy shit. He went on a boat.
I've never cared about this character, and the game is always just like whispers of this legendary character that brought potatoes back to Eorzea, and so I was just worried. I'm like, oh no, this is gonna be like this is gonna be another character to like not give me Kryl time that they're gonna spend time with. I was so happy when he got killed.
I love that he was like doing sports day referee in the background, like had in his pocket all the extra jewels in case something went wrong. Well, he's dead now, so don't worry about it. Which is insane. Like, we just met the man of legend, of potato legend, and now he's dead.
It's older character, historical character. I think it's a smart. God damn, we need to kill off some characters in this game, and it's a real his death stock was real high.
Yeah.
Kind of done everything. What growth is there left for this character?
And it gives us a nice little murder moment for Zoral Ja, who we see the two sword slice, and that's kind of his thing so far. No one else has two sword slice.
I frame by framed it, and you can actually tell it's Zoral Ja.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
He's
you
in
can
there?
see the headdress.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's great that they put that in there.
Yeah, it's cute.
He murders his own advisor, which was a little bit of a switcheroo.
I really thought it was going the other way, and this is another wrinkle I had that kind of... should this bother me?
Okay.
Should this bother me, Kyle? Earlier, with the not nice giants.
Right.
We go to fight Valley Garmonda, and Zoral Ja joins up with us. Has this moment of, oh, he can be pragmatic, and he can fight for the greater good. What was the point of that?
He was testing if he was actually the legend. The miracle is what he calls himself. That I am not the miracle, he says.
Okay, because that irks me, because it feels wasted. I feel like they were trying to humanize Zoral Ja for me. Because the advisor, Surreal Ja, was just getting real weird, like clearly had his own ambitions. And so I thought we were heading towards Surreal Ja betraying Zoral Ja for his own machinations, wanting to use the power of the Golden City, whatever that is.
It's a red herring switcheroo. They wanted you to see Jafar.
Yes.
Jafar and handsomest Warhammer lizard folk
Jafar.
ever. Yes. He is a coward, but it makes you think he's controlling him. I think we need to... There's a little bit of disconnect because Kryle's having visions we're not, and it's a plot device. But clearly everything would be very, very crystal.
That's a good point.
Should we have had those visions?
Okay. Yeah.
Because apparently Zoral Ja at the cook-off was thinking about murdering everybody. In particular, Kryle says, towards his own siblings. Like, he wasn't going to kill the Elector. He wasn't going to kill Woklamot's dad, biological father. He was going to kill his siblings at the car. He was so pissed that he had to make tacos. He wanted to participate in Valley Garmonda as a test to himself. And there's a little bit of power level business going on with Woklamot not able to attack and penetrate Bakal Jaja's defenses back in the bird village, with Bakal Jaja being defeated by Zoral Ja out on the path there before Kona goes on his thespian spree of pretending to be a merchant.
I love a good lesbian spree.
And not what I said. All throughout it, we're kind of laying in like power levels, and we're thinking, okay, Bakal Jaja is this strong, and Zoral Ja is like way stronger. And now we've done Valley Garmonda, so we can kind of place him here. And then Woklamot defeats Bakal Jaja, putting her above in the rung, but Zoral Ja still way above.
But it happens after Valley Garmonda, which Woklamot explains isn't as powerful as it was in the past, but it's still an accomplishment. And that happens before she defeats Bakal Jaja, which could be real power level, could just be personal confidence. Yes. I don't get too lost in power levels. Dragon Ball Z got rid of power levels, and that's how you know power levels are dumb.
I don't think you should concern yourself with the fact that lizard children in Dawntrail are living by manatees that could murder an entire Ul'dah.
Just like I love the pyramid.
Oh yeah, it's handsome.
The pyramid channel. It's so good. It's so freaking good. And everybody lighting up and being like, is it Allegan? No, it's not Allegan. Cool. Check that one off the list. Which we'll cook at the end. So don't cook now.
Okay.
We'll cook at the end. But yeah, that whole bit, it's wonderful. And then what was with this? They made it a point to call out the Sharlayan shield.
That seal. That's Sharlayan and no mistake.
That barred the way that you needed the tablets to turn off. There's an actual quote. That's a Sharlayan shield. It's in there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, was that Kryle's grandpa would have done that? Because
I could see why.
I said we'd cook at the end, but
yeah,
this isn't part of my cook. This is just confusion.
That's the only person who it could be. And Alphino kind of calls it out alongside Kryle and creates this environment of who is Kryle's grandfather, that he participated in this way. Grandpa helped.
Kryle's grandpa?
Kryle's grandpa helped somehow. And we don't know how yet, but they did make a point of being like, this is sealed and we're leaving. we're going to go deal with Aaronville now, which I like because he's been getting little hints, you know? I've been the whole like, I've got a different name and like a family, and let's go meet his family. There's the train thing going on with Kona talking about there's trains over there, and his like 2 cat brothers making faces in the crowd the whole time.
Only one was a Makote.
But I'm also prepared for a world where we exit the city and immediately Woklamat runs up and is like, hey, I couldn't miss out on an adventure. It'd be nice to get some one-on-one time with Aaronville and then maybe do a one-on-one zone with Kryl. I like that. But I also see a world where Woklamat is student, as our main student, going to continue the journey with us. Protege, yes.
We need some more, you know, ASM-trained folk, because we can't be everywhere all at once.
My daughter, Woklamat!
So we're already kind of getting into Wook's ascension.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the corniest speech in the history of Final Fantasy XIV.
Oh, I was desensitized by that point. It's not like I came out of nowhere. That's just her.
This is the corniest, cheesiest expansion in the history of a game that has already shown itself a strong propensity for corn and cheese.
Cheesy, yeah.
But boy, howdy, does Dawntrail really take it to an extreme.
Honestly, I was more impressed with Kono's completely out of his pocket, unrehearsed speech. It was pretty good.
Yeah, well, I think it shows that he'll be a decent leader.
There's, you know, the 2 heads, and now there's a president, vice president, mystic, might kind of situation going on. It's a good mix.
Yeah. Loved the hero landing by Woklamat as she jumped down.
Oh, yeah, hero landing was good.
To very rudely publicly propose to Kona.
Yeah, I should have told him in advance.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and it was even the scene in the end before that where Kona's like real bummed. He's like, my sister asked me to ask you to accept a position. I really wish she had asked me to do anything other than be errand boy.
It was pretty brutal.
That's pretty rough, Wook. You know, as first order of business is making your brother go get coffee for you.
Maybe you know, it's that whole like surprise birthday thing, and everyone acts like they forgot your birthday. You do more damage before you get to the good part.
It's some serious trauma.
It really is.
Yeah,
you gotta be careful with that shit.
Fuck surprise birthdays.
Agreed.
And then the final reveal I really want to talk about is that you totally called it. The other head was dead all along.
Yeah, it worked out well.
Well, not all along. We see plenty of echo scenes where both heads are alive and well. And
there's lots of cute hints, like when Dad is about to do his big spell attack there in the solo duty where we fight him in his palace room. And he's like, hey, oh yeah, that's right. He's cute. It's sad, but he kind of forgets his brother's dead sometimes. So it's kind of cute. A bit of a buzzkill, just whipping him out. I liked it though, because if you're still in the same body, like the head died, but the muscle structure's okay because you got control of both arms. And it's not like the head would like rot because it's part of your circulatory system. So it worked out for me.
Something about the head just being stiff, standing up with the eyes closed bothered me a bit.
Well, it should bother you. Not like it didn't bother me in a video game like they shouldn't have done this sense. It just was bothersome in like a don't open the casket at the party kind of sense.
Yeah.
Just it was a weird time, Dad.
I have biology questions. Like, wouldn't there still be circulation of blood? So would rigor mortis wouldn't set in?
No, it wouldn't. Yeah.
If anything, would atrophy. And it should look like a little shriveled.
Yeah, it might get a little limp because the neck isn't being used.
Yeah. I would have liked a necklace, like, you know, the rings, ring, all the way up the neck, and then the reveal is like you take that off and the head slumps down.
Well, that was a big part of my he must be dead because of all the bandages sort of holding the neck up.
Were there bandages?
Yeah. He had a whole like neck sleeve, so he took off the hood, but there was also a whole neck business.
Yeah, it would have been cooler if you undid the bandages, head slumps, and the mask just falls off.
Yeah.
It's just kind of slumping there. I don't know. There's a little, again, it's like the fit and finish that I feel has just been kind of missing. But it's a fit and finish thing that I've come to expect from Final Fantasy XIV cutscenes. Because, like, right before this, you have that big crowd shot, which, yeah, other games, like, on consoles and their single player on PC have better crowd tech before an MMO.
It was a crowd.
That's some fantastic crowd tech.
There were people there.
Yeah. The lighting just looks so goddamn good now because of that. And who knows? I don't know what developers are shared between what teams, and if anyone working on the cutscene team I was also working on the graphics team, and if anything, because I've been seeing that bandied about, and I'm like, I don't think that's actually how it works. I'm pretty sure the cutscene team probably doesn't actually make assets, but who the hell knows?
And also, my expectations have already caused some confusion, such as what I thought the Scions were there to do, Yoshi P's selling of the Versus Scion or the vacation atmosphere. I do have an expectation going forward that something's going to happen. Like there is going to be a marked increase in what we've been missing. And it could just be the expense of making the Golden City. Like that much visual light business may have taken the team's time.
I've been thinking that too, yeah, that the cutscene budget might be back weighted.
It might be on the back,
yeah. But yeah, that's another thing on my list of like things I would have I just want more voice acting. Just in general. It's not to say that other expansions didn't also have a lot of unvoiced cutscenes. They did. There's way more unvoiced cutscenes in Final Fantasy XIV than there are voiced.
Like Froth and Foam, that took a lot of work to make. And that was fully voice acted. So coming out of these patches, expectations were set for food and amount of voice acting into Dawntrail.
Think of it as bread.
I'd like to bounced.
It looks so gelatinous and delicious.
Oh, don't rip yours. That's not fair. Don't do that.
Oh yeah.
No.
That's fair, and I don't even think it's necessarily a fair comparison to other MMOs that have more voice acting, but it is a true feeling I'm having, which is just like, I would like more voice acting. You have a very good voice cast. Please use them. Please pay them. Please give them more work. What made me think about that was the scene of Zoraljat opening the gate to the Golden City, because it's not voice acted, and it seems like a massive miss.
Well, that one has the mystery excuse, because he is interacting with a voice coming from a technological source.
Yep.
But we wouldn't know what that voice was yet. But maybe it would sound like an old man, therefore Krau's grandpa's trapped inside, or it might sound like the Lalafels that were running towards in the trailer. That could...
Lalafels don't sound like anything. Lalafels are just voice cast with normal voices.
That's a good point,
It's not like WoW gnomes, where they all sound like this, adventurer.
Yeah, so...
Lalafels just sound like people. That makes me think it's Omega related, because we have heard Omicrons talk. This gets into cooking. The Golden City can only be one of two technological civilizations. There's only two options it could be. We have ruled out Allegans. Unless Alphino is lying to us.
He didn't say it was a theory, so...
And even when Yashola says it's a theory, it's the right
that's
answer.
certainly the right answer, yes.
It's the right
covering
answer.
her ass.
Yeah, yes, exactly. So it's not Allegans. So it's either Omicrons or it's Alexander.
Interesting. What was Alexander? What's his faction?
I don't really remember, but there were people that like worshipped and like created the lesser bosses that we were fighting.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't remember because I don't really like the story of that raid. It was a lot of goblin nonsense.
Yes, it was a lot of goblin nonsense.
And to me, like the final wing where it goes full time travel is the interesting part. And everything up to that point I found a little laborious.
So you've dismissed the mock then?
Oh, I forgot about the mock. It doesn't look mock.
It doesn't look very
It doesn't look Geiger.
Yeah.
I was hoping it was I have dismissed the mock. Actually, yes. I didn't even think about I forgot about them, but yeah, I've dismissed them.
Alexander's really interesting because you can kind of see how you would take the Heavensward graphics.
And we have an hourglass.
And turn them up a little bit.
We have an hourglass, which is a symbol for time.
And remember being in that room at the end of Alexander up there in like the control area with the screens and the it was sort of steampunky and dark, but you switch on a couple of wall lights. I could see it happening.
It is a little steampunk. I got you there. Like I'm with you there. I think that does the lack of steampunk aesthetic does pull it away. But you got the symbol of time with the key that looks like a hourglass.
Yeah.
And it's not Allegans, because honestly, I'd say the tech is probably the closest looking to Allegans and they've been rolled out. So I think it's either Omicron or whatever the people are that were involved in Alexander. I don't know my Alexander lore.
Yeah, the civilization of Alexander.
Yeah.
Boy, that was buried under a lot of goblin business.
Yes.
But a nice little love story and all that in the end.
There's no kissing. I don't
Well,
care.
yeah.
A hand hold.
Hold hands. Go get sweet rolls or
Like,
something.
Just go with the end of Korra at least.
Yeah.
If you can't be as big of a coward as Nickelodeon, then what are we doing with our
Wasting
time?
our time.
If you can't be as brave as the cowards over at Nickelodeon.
We even went to the Kiss Lake Final Fantasy X zone and there was no kissing.
Yes.
What a disappointment.
Yeah.
I still want to play with some of the pieces we set up along the journey, so I would be okay if it was a sharded collision civilization from another world during one of the many calamities we've had.
Wasn't Alexander from another world?
He was, and that's why your theory's getting so interesting. But I need to revisit Alexander.
Do we need to revisit Alexander?
It hasn't been used.
Twinning.
That's like saying Leftovers Night is being used. Like, the twinning was Omega, Alexander. It was everything. It was the whole freaking...
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Omega wasn't.
everything got used in the twinning.
The last boss literally looks like Alexander.
Yes, but I'm just saying the twinning was inside the Crystal Tower and 2 raids all together. Basically, the Crystal Tower is everything.
The twinning is the kitchen sink, the dungeon.
It was literally the kitchen sink, yes.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say
okay, fair.
Alexander's steam was spent in there.
And actually, that version of Alexander looks a whole lot more like the tech that we see.
That is true, yeah. A lot more screens.
Than Raid Alexander.
Yeah. But it was a primal, but inside of it was a time-traveling robot? But the outside was sucking in ether. Yeah, I'm not.
Because we defeated the primal and Alexander's still there, which means that the big thing wasn't actually the primal itself.
But the robot, it was.
We fought the robot inside.
It was the robot inside us all along. Yeah.
Don't understand Alexander lore at all. No. And it just wasn't my favorite raid, so I just wasn't interested enough to go deeper and learn.
If you're right, congrats to the one person who understood it. Nice job.
I'm going to be mobbed for my Alexander dismissal if this ends up having
to be fair, you did that when Dawntrail wasn't out.
There'll be no living with our chat room after this.
But there's a long history of dismissing Alexander up to this point. If Alexander suddenly becomes important enough, then I feel like you're allowed to live with your past self.
That's
no apology necessary.
Why didn't Yoshi P tell us to revisit Alexander?
Did he? Wasn't he like...
No, he was like, remember the names of all the convocation.
I mean, that sounds like a man put on the spot who didn't know what to say. If I was DMing and someone asked me for some hints about the next part, I'd tell you, just review it all. It's all going to be important.
That's just the convocation.
What, the whole convocation? That's pretty important stuff.
Why would you say that if we're going like, because again, I'm like, it's either Omega, it's Omicrons, or it's, and honestly, I think Omicrons would be too soon because we deal so much with them in Ultima Thule.
It wouldn't be fair to do it without Graha because he was super into them. So I don't think it's Omicronians.
Well, I think Graha still shows up at some point.
He eats a taco, obviously, in the cutscene.
Well, trailers do mislead us.
Yes.
Intentionally, so. But I do feel like Graha will show. I think there'd be a riot if Graha didn't show up at some point.
Yeah. With Kona out of the way, there's room for another cat boy.
That being said, they better utilize him because I already feel like Estinian was just straight up fan service.
I hope he's somewhere. He found a cool place to hang out. We get to see him again.
Yeah.
I think your pull a thread we haven't used in a long time, Alexander take is really interesting.
I think just by the rule of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Time, LOL. Yeah. It's a time thing. It's about time for Alexander.
It's time for Alexander.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think happens with Zoral Ja? I think we're going to get there, meet the local populace of whoever's in there, assuming Lalafels of the trailer wasn't completely lying to us. And we'll probably take our time getting to know the locals while in the background, Zoral Ja has already found some horrible weapon or been twisted by something that he found, and we're just going to have to kill him.
It would be a good goal to set to defeat him and maybe have little meanwhiles in the Golden Cities of him powering up inside the machine.
Meanwhile,
yeah.
in original Alexander.
In the machine.
In the Alexander Tower.
But I'm not sure what he
that mean we're heading toward another reflection?
He's going to battle. He wants to take over Garlemald. He wants to expand. So he's going to make a copy army of himself because he's perfect and unleash them on the world. He has goals, but he's not Dawn Servant. So he's going to try to take over first and then expand. Like, why?
I mean, if you want war, you don't really need permission.
He could just, twirl his lizard mustache and get crazy.
He wanted to go to war, so he's clearly up to no good.
Apparently he's nuts. Yeah, pure villain.
Oh, yeah.
If Alexander Biz does lead to another reflection, then that brings in Y'shtola because she wants to travel other reflections in a more meaningful way, and at least she'd have a one-to-one travel point there.
And if that gate is just a gate, literally a gateway to another world, that would be new tech, a new way to traverse the expanse. And yeah, you're absolutely right. That is when she would show up. And Graha would probably be pretty interested as well because it's tech that he utilized in the future to bring the Crystal Tower to the First in the past.
And then those portals could be connected.
And so you have character-driven reasons to bring pre-existing Scions into Dawntrail, which would make me very happy.
So do it.
How right am I? Don't tell me.
Don't tell me.
Smiles in comments below.
Like and subscribe. Control yourself.
SupportOurBromance.com. Gesture with your hands and talk.
Talking about things and doing stuff. I'm living in a bush.